Come closer, my dear. Tuck your feet under the blanket and let the world slow down for a little while. You have done enough for today. Your worries can rest beside you. They do not need to follow you into this moment. Welcome to Pillowtime Lore, a small quiet corner where stories are told softly, like secrets shared by candlelight, where the night listens patiently and nothing asks you to hurry. Here we let our thoughts wander gently, the way they used to when bedtime meant safety, warmth, and the promise of something magical before sleep. These stories are not meant to rush you or startle you. They are meant to hold your hand, to remind you of wonder, of kindness, of the strange and beautiful places the heart visits when it feels safe enough to dream. Each tale is a soft knock on the door of your imagination, inviting you in without pressure. So breathe slowly, let your shoulders relax, and allow the noise of the day to fade into the background. Tonight, you do not need to be anywhere else. You only need to listen. Now, my dear, if you are comfortable and ready, let us begin our story together. Eleanor did not mean to wander so far that night. She had only stepped out for a breath of air, the kind you take when the house feels too quiet and your thoughts too loud. The fog rolled gently along the streets like a soft shawl pulled across the shoulders of the town, and before she knew it, her feet carried her past the last familiar lamppost, into a street that should have been empty but was not. The carnival waited there as if it had been holding its breath for her. Lights shimmered through the fog, warm and golden, twinkling like stars that had slipped down from the sky to rest among the tents and rides. Eleanor slowed her steps, not from fear exactly, but from that careful feeling you get when you sense something important is about to happen, something you do not want to rush. There were no crowds, no shouting vendors or hurried parents tugging children along. The streets around the carnival were quiet as a sleeping cat, yet inside the gates music floated softly. Laughter chimed like little bells, and somewhere far back a calliope played a tune that felt older than memory. It wrapped around Eleanor's heart and tugged gently, as if saying, "Come closer, dear." She stepped forward, and the gravel beneath her shoes crunched politely, almost as if it were aware of her presence and wished to announce her arrival. The fog thinned just enough for her to see the first row of booths, each one glowing from within, colors deep and rich like candies in a glass jar. Reds that felt warm, blues that felt calm, and golds that hummed softly in her chest. The booths displayed games she thought she recognized, ring tosses, and spinning wheels and little jars filled with prizes. Yet when she looked closer, something felt slightly off. The rings shimmered as if alive. The wheels turned a fraction of a second after she blinked, and the prizes glowed faintly, as though they remembered hands that had once held them. Eleanor smiled without meaning to, the way you do when you remember a dream you once loved. The air smelled of sugar and bread and something else she could not name, something comforting, like old books and warm kitchens. She took another step, and the lights above the nearest booth brightened just a little, as if pleased by her interest. That was when she noticed the carousel. It stood a little apart from the other rides, turning slowly, patiently, its music softer than the rest. Each animal carved with such care that Eleanor half expected them to blink. The horse's eyes shone with gentle wisdom. A lion's mane seemed to ripple though there was no wind, and a swan curved its neck as if listening. The carousel moved at its own pace, not hurried, not stopping, just circling as if it had all the time in the world. Eleanor felt drawn to it, yet she hesitated, some small instinct telling her to look around first, to understand where she was before stepping onto something that felt so alive. Other visitors wandered through the carnival. Few in number, each wrapped in their own quiet bubble. A street musician stood near a lantern, his violin tucked under his chin. The notes he played were low and tender. They slipped into Eleanor's ears and settled there, stirring memories she had not touched in years. Not far from him a baker moved carefully between stalls, carrying trays of warm treats from a glowing booth that smelled like comfort itself. The bread shone softly, as though baked with more than flour and yeast. The baker's face was calm, focused, like someone performing a beloved ritual rather than a job. Near the edge of the path a small child stood clutching a balloon, its string wound tightly around their wrist. The balloon glowed faintly, casting a pale light on the child's face. There was no crying, only a quiet seriousness, the kind children get when they are thinking thoughts too big for their years. Eleanor felt a tug in her chest at the sight. She wanted to step closer, to ask if the child was lost, but before she could move the lanterns above shifted, light pooling gently around the child, as if the carnival itself were watching over them. Eleanor sensed then that help came differently in this place. As she walked deeper into the carnival, she noticed the strangest thing. The lights seemed to respond to people. When the musician leaned into his melody, the lanterns nearby glowed warmer. When the baker paused to rest, the lights softened. And when their child tightened their grip on the balloon, the glow pulsed like a heartbeat. The music too was alive. Eleanor realized. It changed subtly as people passed, swelling with joy near laughter, quieting near thoughtful faces. It did not overwhelm. It listened, and that realization sent a small shiver of wonder down her spine. She paused near a booth filled with glowing trinkets, little objects laid out neatly on velvet cloth, a tiny compass that spun slowly on its own, a spoon that shimmered as if remembering countless meals, a ribbon that fluttered without breeze. Eleanor reached out, then stopped herself, unsure if touching was allowed or if it would awaken something she was not ready for. The booth keeper was nowhere to be seen, yet Eleanor felt watched, not in a frightening way, but in the way a grandmother watches a child explore, ready to step in if needed but content to let curiosity lead. She withdrew her hand and laughed softly at herself. As she continued on, the fog shifted behind her, closing the path she had taken, not abruptly, not cruelly, just gently, as if suggesting that turning back was not the point of tonight. Eleanor felt no panic, only a growing sense of purpose she could not yet name. The carnival hummed beneath her feet, a low vibration that felt like a heartbeat. She imagined it listening to her thoughts, weighing them kindly, deciding which lights to brighten, which songs to play. She felt very small and very seen all at once. That was when their understanding settled into her bones, slow and certain. This place was not here just to entertain. It was here to notice, to remember, to reflect back the parts of people they carried quietly inside, the wishes unspoken, the memories tucked away, the truths waiting patiently for a safe moment. Eleanor stood still, letting the realization wrap around her like a warm blanket. The carnival did not rush her. The lights held steady, the music softened, as if saying, "Take your time, dear. This night has been waiting for you." And with that gentle invitation humming through the fog and lights, Eleanor took a breath, squared her shoulders, and stepped fully into the Sleepless Carnival, unaware that this was only the beginning. yet feeling deep in her heart that she had arrived exactly where she was meant to be. Eleanor walked deeper into the carnival with careful steps, the kind you take when you are curious but also listening closely to your heart. The ground beneath her felt softer here, almost springy, as though it remembered thousands of footsteps and still welcomed each new one kindly. The lights shifted as she passed, lanterns leaning slightly toward her like old friends eager to see her face. The first thing that caught her attention was a row of tall mirrors standing quietly beside one another. Their frames carved with gentle swirls and faded stars. Eleanor slowed. Something about them made her chest feel tight and warm at the same time. She knew mirrors well enough, yet these felt different, like they were waiting for her specifically. She stepped closer and looked into the first mirror. At first she saw herself just as she was, tired eyes, soft hair falling loose around her shoulders. But then the reflection changed. Slowly, kindly, it showed her standing straighter, eyes brighter. As though she had remembered something important about herself, Eleanor reached up to touch the glass, her fingers trembling just a little. In the next mirror she saw a version of herself laughing freely, hair shorter, clothes worn thin with adventure. There was a confidence in that reflection that made Eleanor's breath catch. She felt no jealousy, only a quiet ache, like remembering a road not taken. Another mirror showed her older, calmer, eyes lined with stories, hands steady and warm. Their reflection smiled at her as if to say, "There is still time, dear. Do not worry so much." Eleanor stepped back then, heart thudding softly. She understood now that these mirrors were not cruel. They were honest. She turned away, needing a moment, and found herself standing before the Ferris wheel. It rose high into the fog, higher than seemed possible, its lights blinking slowly, patiently. The seats swayed gently, empty yet inviting. Eleanor watched as it turned, the top disappearing into clouds, filled with tiny twinkling lights like scattered fireflies. A couple stepped into one of the seats, holding hands tightly. As the wheel lifted them upward, the lights around them glowed warmer. Their laughter floated down like music. Eleanor felt a strange comfort watching them rise, as if the wheel carried worries upward and returned people lighter. She did not ride it yet. Something told her to wait. Instead, she followed a narrow path lit by lanterns that shifted softly as she passed. They seemed to guide her without words, leading her toward a small tent tucked between larger attractions, its fabric patterned with moons and faded suns. Inside sat a fortune teller, an elderly woman with kind eyes and steady hands, cards laid out before her like old friends. The woman looked up and smiled, not surprised at all, as if Eleanor had been expected. "Come closer, dear," the woman said softly, her voice warm like tea on a cold evening. Eleanor sat, heart fluttering. The cards were turned one by one, each revealing something Eleanor felt rather than saw, a fear she had never named, a wish she had buried deep, a courage she had forgotten she owned. Tears pricked Eleanor's eyes, not from sadness, but from recognition. The fortune teller nodded gently, as though this reaction was the most natural thing in the world. She gathered the cards and pressed them together. "Remembering is the bravest thing you can do," she said. Eleanor stepped back into the night feeling lighter and heavier all at once. That was when she noticed the boy. He stood quietly near a line of shadows, hands tucked into his sleeves, eyes watching the carnival with calm understanding. He did not speak, But when Eleanor looked at him, he nodded once and turned. Something in his stillness made Eleanor follow. They moved through paths that seemed to appear just in time, shadows stretching to form walkways, lanterns shifting to light their steps. The boy stopped before a tiny stall Eleanor was sure had not been there before. The stall glowed softly. Inside rested objects laid with great care. A worn notebook, a small brass key, a delicate music box. Eleanor felt her breath hitch. She knew without being told that these were pieces of lost dreams. The boy looked at her expectantly, as if the choice was hers alone. Before she could reach for anything, voices drifted around them, other visitors sharing fragments of their lives, quiet confessions, small regrets, hopes spoken aloud for the first time. The carnival listened. The rides shifted gently, lanterns moved closer, holding each story with care. Eleanor realized then that nothing here was random. Every step mattered. Every choice shaped the night. She felt a thrill of wonder and a thread of suspense curl together inside her. The carnival was responding to her, and she to it. She stood at the little stall, heart full, knowing that whatever she chose next would ripple through the sleepless carnival in ways she could not yet see. As Eleanor moved onward through the carnival, she felt it changing around her, not suddenly, not sharply, but the way twilight slips into night without asking permission. The colors deepened, the music grew more playful, and the air itself felt lighter, like it had learned how to laugh. The games were no longer simple things you could win with quick hands alone. One booth asked visitors to toss rings, but the rings refused to land unless the thrower believed they could succeed. Eleanor watched a woman try again and again, growing frustrated, until a stranger placed a hand on her shoulder and whispered encouragement. Only then did the ring settle gently where it belonged. Another game offered no prizes at all, only a question whispered softly when you stepped forward, something simple yet heavy, something that made people pause. Eleanor saw visitors step away thoughtful, some smiling, some wiping their eyes. Each one changed just a little. That was when the mischief began, though at first it was so gentle it felt like a joke shared between friends. Cotton candy floated upward from a child's hands, bobbing like a balloon. Laughter followed it as people reached and missed, reaching again. The candy finally settling back down as if satisfied with the attention. Tickets fluttered from pockets and led visitors not where they expected but where they needed to go. A man hoping for the Ferris wheel found himself seated on a quiet ride that played lullaby music. A girl seeking thrills ended up at a booth where she learned patience instead. The carnival chuckled softly at its own cleverness. Shadows began to misbehave too, copying movements a moment too late, bowing when visitors did not, waving when no hand was raised. Eleanor laughed aloud when her own shadow spun once before settling back into place. She felt watched again, but warmly, fondly. She soon sensed the presence of something else, something quick and light, a flicker between booths, a ripple in the air. The prankster spirit revealed itself only in glimpses, a flash of bright eyes reflected in glass, a soft giggle carried on the music. It meant no harm, only curiosity, only play. Eleanor followed the sound of hurried footsteps and found a visitor standing alone near the edge of the path, their face pale with worry. They clutched empty hands and spoke of a glowing orb they had lost, something precious, something that felt important though they could not explain why. Without hesitation, Eleanor offered help, and the carnival responded at once, Lanterns tilted to light the ground, music softened to a thoughtful hum, and paths rearranged themselves into a puzzle of turns and choices. They were soon joined by others, strangers who felt drawn to the search, each bringing something different: patience, sharp eyes, gentle words. The puzzles they faced could not be solved alone. Doors opened only when hands joined, riddles answered only when voices blended. As they worked together, Eleanor felt the music rise with their laughter, then quiet when someone grew discouraged. The carnival listened closely, adjusting, guiding, never forcing. Small tensions flared, a sharp word here, a misunderstanding there. But each time the carnival nudged gently, a ride paused, a light dimmed, reminding everyone to breathe, to listen, to soften. Rivalries melted into cooperation. At last the glowing orb was found resting beneath a booth, pulsing softly like a heart. When the visitor held it again, relief washed over their face. The light spread outward, warming everyone nearby. Eleanor stood back, watching connections form where none had existed before. She understood now that the mischief was not chaos but invitation, a way to shake loose habits, to open hearts, to awaken courage hidden under routine. The carnival shimmered brighter, proud and pleased, and Eleanor felt certain that she was learning its language, one choice, one connection at a time. After the glowing orb was returned, the carnival seemed to sigh in contentment, not loudly, not in any way that would startle, but with a deep soft settling, like an old house relaxing once everyone is safely inside. The lights steadied, the music found a playful rhythm again, and Eleanor felt the night lean closer, eager to continue. The prankster spirit grew bolder now that the visitors had warmed to its games. It skipped openly between booths, still just out of clear sight, leaving trails of giggles and gentle surprises. Hats floated briefly before settling back on heads, ribbons untied themselves only to nod again in prettier bows, and Eleanor caught herself smiling at the ceiling as if greeting an old friend. One game caught her attention. It looked simple enough, painted cups and soft bowls. But when Eleanor stepped forward, the booth whispered a quiet challenge, not in words but in feeling. She understood somehow that this game asked for courage, not accuracy. She took a breath and tossed the ball. It missed. She laughed softly, tried again, and this time the cups leaned closer, welcoming the effort. Nearby two visitors stood stiffly apart, their voices low and tense. The carnival noticed. Lanterns dimmed slightly around them. The music slowed, inviting reflection. Eleanor watched as one visitor spoke first, then the other listened, their shadows slowly drifting closer until they touched. The tension eased like a knot gently loosened. Laughter rose again, and with it the music soared, higher notes dancing through the air. Eleanor felt joy ripple through her chest. The sound was alive, responding, celebrating every shared smile, every moment of understanding. Then tears fell somewhere, quiet and honest. The music trembled, softening, wrapping the sadness gently instead of hiding from it. Eleanor understood then that nothing here was meant to be ignored. Every feeling had a place. Every emotion mattered. The prankster spirit paused near her, just long enough for Eleanor to sense gratitude, as if it were thanking her for playing along, for trusting the mischief. She bowed her head slightly without thinking, and the spirit darted away, pleased. As the night deepened, Eleanor felt a growing clarity settle within her. The carnival was teaching without lectures, guiding without pushing. It offered mirrors not to judge, games not to win, puzzles not to conquer, but chances to connect, to notice, to grow kinder toward oneself and others. She looked around at the visitors, now less strangers than companions, each one carrying a small shift. Inside them, courage sparked, empathy stirred, imagination stretched awake. The carnival glowed brighter for it, humming with quiet pride. Eleanor rested her hands at her sides, heart full, sensing that she was no longer just walking through the carnival. She was part of its rhythm now, woven gently into its purpose. The mischief, the magic, the connections, all flowing together like a well-loved story passed down through generations. And as the music carried her forward into the next stretch of the night, Eleanor knew that whatever came next would ask something of her too, and she felt ready, wrapped in warmth, guided by wonder, and held by a carnival that knew exactly why she had come. The tent revealed itself slowly, not by suddenly appearing but by allowing Eleanor to notice it, which is how important things often enter our lives. It stood a little away from the brighter attractions, its fabric darker, heavier, stitched with faint patterns that looked like constellations half remembered. The lantern beside it flickered gently as though unsure whether to call attention or keep the secret a while longer. Eleanor felt her steps slow without her asking them to. Her heart recognized the place before her mind did. The air here was quieter, thicker, filled with the kind of silence that carries voices inside it. When she brushed the edge of the tent, she felt warmth, not heat, but the warmth of something that had been held many times. She stepped inside, and the carnival softened its breath around her. The light within the tent was low and kind. Lanterns hung close enough to touch, their glow spilling gently over long wooden tables, and upon those tables rested their remnants of many lives, letters folded with care, journals worn smooth by nervous hands, objects placed as offerings rather than forgotten things. Eleanor felt the weight of it press softly against her chest. These were not abandoned items. She understood that at once they had been left on purpose, left because someone needed a place strong enough to hold what they could no longer carry. She reached for the nearest letter, the paper thin and fragile, its edges softened with age, their handwriting careful and uneven, like someone afraid of being too honest yet unable to stop themselves. Eleanor read slowly, letting the words settle. The letter spoke of regret, of a love left unspoken, of a dream delayed until it felt impossible. Eleanor felt tears prick her eyes, not because the pain was sharp, but because it was familiar. Around her the tent filled quietly, visitors entering with the same hushed reverence. No one spoke at first. They simply moved from table to table, drawn by invisible threads. A woman opened a journal and pressed her forehead against it as if greeting an old friend. A man lifted a small object and smiled with a sadness that felt gentle rather than heavy. Eleanor moved deeper into the tent, her fingers brushing spines of journals, ribbons of letters, each one humming faintly with memory, until she came upon a letter tied with a faded ribbon. Something about it made her pause, her chest tightening before she even touched it. When she opened it, her breath caught. The words were known to her, not memorized but recognized. The voice behind them belonged to someone she had once loved, someone whose absence had settled quietly into her life like dust on a shelf, never noticed until disturbed. The letter spoke of choices made out of fear, of distance that grew slowly, of missing someone too deeply to know how to return. Eleanor's hands trembled, memories rose unbidden, shared laughter, unfinished conversations, moments that ended without realizing they were endings. Her tears fell then, warm and unashamed, landing softly on the paper. The carnival felt it. Outside the tent the lights brightened, not harshly but joyfully, golden light spilling through the fabric. The carousel stirred nearby, one of the horses letting out a soft wooden sound that carried emotion rather than noise. The music swelled, rich and full, wrapping the tent in sound like a grandmother's arms. Visitors looked up, sensing the shift, and something opened between them. One by one voices began to rise, hesitant confessions, stories long held back, fears spoken aloud for the first time, hopes offered into the air without apology. The tent seemed to expand to hold it all, shadows stretching to make space, lanterns shifting to illuminate each speaker gently. Eleanor listened, heart open, feeling the stories weave together into something larger than any single life, a shared understanding, a collective remembering. Then the warmth shuddered, a sharp metallic sound cut through the air. The music wavered, lights flickered, someone cried out softly. Outside a ride groaned and lurched. The prankster mischief had crossed a line. Fear rippled through the carnival like a cold breeze. Eleanor did not freeze. She moved, calling out calmly, gathering others. Hands joined, voices steadied. Someone soothed the frightened riders. Another held a lantern steady. Someone else spoke gently to the carnival itself, as though it could hear. And it did. The lights steadied. The ride slowed. The danger passed not through force but cooperation. Trust built in the moment between strangers. When the crisis ended, a shared breath released into the night. Relief softened into quiet pride. The carnival glowed brighter than before, not flashy, but alive, aware, grateful. Eleanor stood again within the tent, letter folded carefully in her pocket, surrounded by people who no longer felt like strangers. She understood then that this place did not collect secrets to keep them. It revealed them so they could be shared, softened, healed. As she stepped back into the lantern-lit paths, Eleanor felt changed, not transformed into someone new, but returned gently to herself. She knew the carnival was watching, remembering, holding every heart that dared to open within it. And as the music settled into a calm hum once more, Eleanor knew this night was moving towards something greater still, and she was ready to follow wherever it led. The night had begun to soften around Eleanor, the carnival moving with a gentle slowness that made each step feel heavier with meaning. The ride spun slower. The lights dimmed as though the carnival itself were leaning in close to whisper secrets. The air smelled of mist, warm pastries, and soft lantern smoke, and Eleanor felt her heart tightening with the kind of anticipation that sits in your chest and refuses to leave. She wandered past familiar games and quiet stalls, noticing details she had never truly seen before. A ribbon tied to a post fluttering softly, a string of lanterns swaying just so, shadows stretching longer than usual but in a comforting way, not threatening. The carnival seemed alive, aware of every movement and heartbeat. The Ferris wheel loomed above, massive yet gentle, its seats dangling just out of reach of the clouds, the top glowing softly in the mist. And Eleanor knew she would see it again soon, higher and brighter than she had imagined. Visitors moved quietly through the paths, some holding hands, some walking alone, all sensing the weight of the night. It was as though the carnival was asking everyone to take stock of their hearts, to notice what they had carried here and what they might take away. Eleanor paused near a glowing stall she remembered from earlier, where a small music box had been left spinning quietly, its tunes soft and fragile, and she thought about the choice before her, to leave with memories and lessons or to stay and guide the next wave of hearts. Around her, the carnival seemed to respond to her hesitation, lanterns tilting slightly as if nudging her, shadows leaning in, warm music swelling ever so softly to encourage reflection. She watched a pair of visitors sitting quietly on a bench, their faces solemn at first but slowly softening, one leaning on the other's shoulder, words exchanged without sound, forgiveness passing gently between them like a shared breath. Near the mirror maze, another visitor stared at their reflection, the mirror itself no longer shifting or mocking but steady, kind, and Eleanor saw the relief wash over the person's face, small corners of the carnival lighting up as each soul opened to honesty. Children played cautiously on rides that no longer seemed scary, laughter soft but growing, shadows dancing around their feet. The carnival celebrating each smile, each small triumph over fear. The mist began to curl along the ground, carrying a chill and a gentle luminescence, the music rising in harmony with the slow rotation of the Ferris wheel. Eleanor felt the magic of the night intensify, wrapping around her like a quilt, gentle yet electrifying. Then she noticed it, the first real storm of energy, a wave of light and sound and mist moving through the carnival, gentle but impossible to ignore. It did not feel like danger, but like a test, like the night itself asking who would rise to meet it. The Ferris wheel turned into glowing clouds at its peak. Shadows moved in tandem with visitors. Objects from past nights appeared floating briefly. Letters, keys, trinkets, ribbons, each symbolizing memories and lessons of those who had passed through before. Visitors gasped softly, reaching toward the floating objects, not to take them, but to acknowledge them. Eleanor felt warmth in her chest, recognizing the thread that connected every soul present. And there it was again, the choice, quietly insistent, pressing gently on her heart. Stay and become part of this magic, or leave carrying the gifts she had received into the ordinary world. Her eyes swept across the carnival, seeing rivalry softened, apologies spoken quietly but fully, mysteries resolved, connections deepened. Eleanor felt the responsibility settle on her shoulders, not heavy, but important. The storm of light and mist swirled closer, music rising in intensity, shadows aligning perfectly with each visitor's steps. The carnival paused in breathless anticipation, all waiting for someone to act, and Eleanor took that first small step, feeling the weight of possibility press warmly against her chest, the magic of the night pressing closer. Eleanor stepped forward into the heart of the carnival, the mist curling around her ankles like a gentle tide, the light shifting in response to each careful movement, the music swelling softly and then quieting as if listening to her thoughts. Around her, visitors faced their own truths, quietly but fully. A young woman knelt by a glowing ribbon she had found tangled in the shadows, whispering apologies to someone unseen. Eleanor could see her shoulders relax, the tension leaving like a sigh. Nearby, A man and a woman had paused in front of a mirror, their reflections steady and honest. They reached for each other's hands after long hesitation, eyes moist. Eleanor felt a shiver of warmth pass through her chest, knowing that reconciliation, even small, was part of the carnival's secret magic. The Ferris wheel turned higher now, seats lifting into glowing clouds, mist swirling around the top in iridescent colors, shadows stretched elegantly, perfectly synchronized with the movement of people below. The storm of light and music creating a spectacle that seemed bigger than any single heart. Eleanor felt a pull toward the center of the path, as if the carnival itself wanted her there. Every choice she had made, every small kindness, every laugh shared, every moment of courage or honesty, had led to this moment. She looked at the objects floating in the mist. Letters, keys, ribbons, each one a story, a memory, a lesson left behind by someone who had trusted the carnival to hold them safely. Eleanor recognized the music box she had touched earlier, spinning gently in mid-air, its soft tune threading through the symphony of the storm. Visitors began to move closer together, forming quiet circles of trust, shared experiences. Some whispered stories aloud, others simply nodded, their hearts speaking silently, and the carnival listened, responding with light that brightened in tune with understanding. Eleanor's gaze swept over the crowd, realizing how deeply connected every person had become through small acts of bravery, honesty, and openness. The night itself seemed alive, sentient, nurturing each soul with the gentle pressure of possibility, and still the choice pressed gently at her heart. The dawn creeping toward the edges of the carnival, sunlight mixing faintly with lantern glow, casting a soft gold across the mist. Eleanor could leave and carry everything she had learned, everything she had felt, the courage, the empathy, the magic, into the ordinary world. Or she could stay, become a guardian of this place, guiding the next wave of visitors, holding their fears, their secrets, their hopes, helping them find the courage she had found. The decision felt impossible at first, each option heavy with meaning. Yet Eleanor realized something quietly remarkable. It was not a question of right or wrong. It was a question of love, of whether she wanted to give herself fully to the ordinary or to the extraordinary. The music rose again, triumphant yet tender. The Ferris wheel now fully immersed in glowing clouds, shadows dancing in rhythm with the mist, letters floating in a slow, graceful ballet. Eleanor felt tears rising, not of sadness but of awe. She saw a pair of visitors who had quarreled earlier, now laughing softly together, holding hands, their shadows weaving like ribbons on the mist. The carnival reflecting the resolution of tension. Another visitor knelt quietly, eyes closed, whispering a long-held dream into the swirling light. The mist lifted around them gently, carrying the hope upward. Eleanor smiled softly, knowing that she could hold this in her heart whether she left or stayed. She stepped forward a little more, letting the magic brush against her skin, a warmth that felt like reassurance. The storm of light and music beginning to calm, the mist curling upward, the Ferris wheel descending slowly into gentle clouds, the carnival itself sighing with satisfaction. Eleanor finally let herself breathe fully, choosing with quiet certainty she would stay just a little longer to help the next hearts who wandered in, to guide them gently through courage, truth, and connection. The visitors around her sensed the choice, a hush of respect falling over the crowd, lights softening to a warm glow, the music settling into a lullaby that wrapped the carnival in comfort. And as the first true hints of dawn touched the edges of the night, Eleanor stood at the center of it all, heart full, knowing that she had chosen love, chosen responsibility, chosen magic over the ordinary. Rivalries reconciled fully, mysteries resolved not by force but by understanding, connections deepened, the carnival seemed to hum in appreciation, alive and sentient, carrying the hearts of everyone present gently into the dawn. Eleanor's gaze lifted to the sky, where the Ferris wheel now rotated slowly, glowing faintly, mist curling in quiet spirals, shadows weaving like stories in the clouds, and she felt a deep calm, a certainty that this night, this choice, would ripple into the lives of everyone who had been here. The carnival had asked, the carnival had waited, and Eleanor had answered. And in that answer, the world felt softer, fuller, and infinitely more alive. The first hints of sunlight brushed softly against the edges of the carnival, spilling pale gold through the mist, touching lanterns and ribbons and shadows in a way that felt like the world itself was waking gently. Eleanor felt a shiver of awe as she stepped forward, the quiet of early morning wrapping around her like a soft blanket. The ride slowed one by one, not collapsing but fading gracefully, the Ferris wheel turning in slow, careful circles, its lights dimming from brilliant hues to gentle glows, and the carousel horses that had seemed alive all night now stood still, breathing faintly in the early light. Music softened into a lullaby, notes stretching lazily, holding onto the magic just long enough for the hearts of the visitors to catch it. Eleanor heard it as a faint echo of everything the carnival had been, laughter and confessions, courage and connection, all woven together in a single gentle melody. Visitors moved quietly, many holding small tokens in their hands. Letters, ribbons, keys, music boxes, items that carried the memory of their journey, their eyes soft, hearts full, understanding that they were stepping into an ordinary world but carrying extraordinary light within them. A child who had been afraid earlier now skipped carefully along a path lined with fading lanterns, a ribbon trailing behind, a small smile tugging at her lips. Eleanor felt the warmth of that moment reach her heart. The carnival rewarding bravery with gentleness. Near their music stall, the baker who had delivered glowing treats all night packed them away slowly, each motion deliberate, careful. Eleanor noticed that even the smallest gestures carried the weight of tenderness, the same way a grandmother's hand lingers on a child's shoulder to soothe worry. The quiet street outside the carnival's edge reflected the early light, puddles shimmering faintly with the lingering glow of the rides. It felt ordinary, yet every reflection whispered a story, a secret kept safe. Eleanor's steps slowed as she took it all in, not wanting to leave too quickly. She wandered past familiar parts one last time, noticing small details she had overlooked before, a lantern that swayed like a sleepy eye, a shadow that lingered a little longer than usual, the scent of mist mixing with the faint sweetness of pastries and cotton candy. Every visitor seemed to understand the subtle lessons of the night. They paused to breathe it in, to feel the magic in their bones, the courage they had found, the truths they had faced, the connections they had made. Eleanor finally approached the center of the carnival, where the Ferris wheel now rested in the clouds, soft mist curling around the base, the light dim and tender. and she felt a quiet ache knowing that soon the carnival would dissolve entirely, leaving only memories to hold the night. She reached for a small token left behind on the carousel platform, a glowing coin that seemed to hum faintly in her hand, a ribbon that fluttered softly without wind, a trinket whose surface captured the faint glow of every lantern and memory of the night. It felt as though the carnival itself was offering her a piece of its soul, a way to carry its lessons and magic into the waking world. Eleanor held it carefully, feeling the weight of gratitude and wonder pressing gently against her chest. She glanced back at the remaining visitors, noting the subtle changes in their posture, their expressions soft, unguarded, some whispering quietly to each other, some staring at the dissolving rides with awe, all carrying pieces of the carnival's heart with them. And Eleanor knew she had been changed as well, not in ways easily seen, but in ways that would linger quietly, shaping her courage, her empathy, her openness to the world. The mist lifted slightly, revealing the edges of the tents and stalls dissolving like memories slipping into dawn, and Eleanor stepped slowly, reverently, toward the edge where the ordinary world waited, the warmth of the carnival still humming in her chest. Eleanor lingered at the threshold where the carnival met the waking world, feeling the gentle pull of ordinary streets, their familiar lines softened by puddles that reflected lingering lantern light. She could hear faint echoes of the music and laughter from the night winding through the air, subtle but persistent. The other visitors moved slowly now, stepping carefully into the dawn, some holding hands, some walking alone, each carrying a small piece of the carnival's heart, their eyes soft, smiles tentative but warm, the weight of what they had experienced settling quietly into their bones. Eleanor felt a tug at her chest, a mix of longing and contentment, knowing that this night would always be part of her. The lessons, the courage, the tiny miracles of connection would linger in her memory like faint embers ready to glow again whenever needed. She wandered past the empty stalls, noticing that each one seemed to bow slightly as she passed, lanterns tilting in farewell, shadows stretching one last time to wave her on, the mist curling around her feet as if reluctant to let her go. The Ferris wheel, now barely glowing, turned slowly in its last circles, clouds drifting around its top, and Eleanor could see faint reflections of the visitors' stories in the mist, small symbols of hope, forgiveness, and courage hanging like tiny stars suspended in the morning air. The carousel horses breathed faintly one last time, their painted eyes soft and knowing. Eleanor reached out and touched the manner of one, feeling the warmth of all the nights and mornings it had seen, the lives it had witnessed, the secrets it had held. She held her token tightly, a glowing coin that seemed to hum faintly with memory, a ribbon that fluttered without wind, a trinket that carried echoes of laughter and courage. She knew that this small piece of the carnival would be her anchor, a gentle reminder of the night when magic and bravery had met. The streets outside now looked ordinary, houses quietly waiting for the sun, birds beginning to stir, the air filled with faint scents of dew and earth. Yet Eleanor could see traces of the carnival in every reflection, every puddle, the soft echo of music lingering in the space between moments. She walked slowly, savoring each step, noticing details she might have overlooked otherwise, the soft ripple of water in a gutter, the first bird rising into the sky, a ribbon caught on a fence post fluttering like a memory, the faint scent of pastries carried by a gentle breeze, Other visitors passed her on the streets, exchanging quiet nods and soft smiles. Eleanor recognized some from the night before, their eyes shining with the knowledge that they had shared something extraordinary, even if the world outside would never fully understand. She paused. At a small bench, sunlight now stretching over it, and reflected on everything the carnival had shown her, how courage could be gentle, how connection could be unspoken, how the smallest acts could carry the weight of change. Eleanor smiled softly, feeling a gentle tear slip down her cheek, not from sadness but from awe and gratitude. The carnival had existed not for simple amusement, but to reveal hidden desires, to awaken empathy, to foster connection, and to transform those brave enough to wander through its sleepless night. As she stepped onto the last stretch of street leading home, she turned for one final glance. The mist lifting, the lanterns now faint echoes, the rides fully dissolved into dawn, yet the carnival hummed quietly in her chest, alive in memory and in spirit. She felt the magic settle, a soft warmth that would linger forever, a reminder that even in ordinary life, bravery, kindness, and connection could shine brightly, that hidden desires could be nurtured and shared, and that the smallest acts of courage could transform not only a single night but an entire heart. Eleanor held her token close, breathing in the morning air, the first real sun warming her face, and she whispered quietly, a promise to herself and to the carnival, that she would carry this magic with her, keep it alive in her heart, and perhaps, someday, help guide others to find it too. And as she walked on, the streets ordinary yet shimmering faintly with memory, Eleanor knew that their carnival had given her something no fading mist or morning light could ever take away, a gentle, enduring magic that would linger forever, soft, patient, and endlessly waiting for those who dared to believe.